Hello everyone and welcome back to FantasyFootballFix.com, the #1 platform to help you improve your overall rank, giving you the best chance of winning your mini leagues by increasing that team value over the course of the season. I'm your host FPL Phillips, or Eddie, and today I'm bringing you the latest in our series of daily price change videos, where we cover all the latest in price rises and fallers who are going to be moving up or down in price tonight. As always, if you've got a question for one of our FPL presenters, then feel free to drop it down in the comments. I always try to get back to everyone who takes the time to leave a comment on one of my videos on the channel. And yeah, without further ado, let's jump into it and have a look at a lot of the noticeable rises that are going up and down in price tonight. So before we delve deep into some of the underlying statistics, it's important just to have a look at the general overview of some of the noticeable players who are going up and down in price tonight. I've done this by adding the players that I think are the most noticeable and are the most noticeable. All the others that I eliminated, really nobody owns. So I've done this by adding the players to my watch list, as you can see, which is a very handy feature that you can access over at the FantasyFootballFix.com website, the price predictor tool. You can access that for absolutely free. Link is down in the description. But as you can see, there's a lot of players that have been of note and are looking important to some people with regards to prices. Point one either there may make a difference this week. And Reece James tops that list. He's looking like he's going up in price tonight, and we can actually sort this by progress per hour. We can see that he's got the highest of 1.7%, which is quite a hefty total, and he's beyond the 100% threshold at 107% progress. Livramento behind with 102% could earn himself a rise as well to earn himself that final price tag of 4.5 million, and will probably keep going. He started at 4.0, of course, at the start of the season, and some owners have held him all the way through that, including myself. So it's lovely to see that he's finally earned himself up to that margin where he probably should have started the season at, if he was a guaranteed starter at least. SALAH looking beyond the 100% threshold as well, only just beyond it and not rising at as high a rate as the other two, but he's at 12.9 and could become the first 13 million player we're going to see this year in the game, and well deserved. He's at 71% ownership at time of recording, which is absolutely crazy, but I'm still confused as to why the other 29% aren't actually owning the Egyptian king. Foden looks like he could be going up in price tomorrow, which is something to note, and Smith Rowe is rising at quite a heavy rate as well, 1.3% per hour, second to only Reece James, and could earn himself a rise tonight if he keeps rising at such a high rate. But it's important to mention at this point that price changes are not an exact science and do alter very quickly. The best way to stay up to date is by visiting the FantasyFootballFix.com website. As mentioned before, the link is in the description to that, so you can stay up to date right until the price changes happen, which is normally around 1 or 2 a.m. UK time. There's some fallers as well of note. Azpilicueta is in a lot of teams at the moment and seems out of favour in favour of Reece James. Azpilicueta is actually starting for Chelsea in the UCL as well, which will reduce his chances of starting at the weekend against Burnley. You'd think that Reece James will be coming back into that side unless we see an early substitution for Azpilicueta. I wouldn't have any worries. Reece James owners and Azpilicueta owners, including myself, will probably be a bit concerned and be looking to perhaps make the switch over to one of the more nailed-on fullbacks. Who would have thought we'd be saying Reece James and Chilwell's are the most nailed ones at this point. And Ismail Sarr is there as well, owned at 13.2% still, and £6.2 million, but he's not really been delivering anything of note in recent weeks, and with Watford's poor fixtures, it looks like managers are deciding to hop off. There's a few others there like Calvert-Lewin and Shaw, but people already know about, and Heung-min Son looks like he could be earning a price rise tomorrow, but I'll be here for that video as well, so make sure you tune in tomorrow night to have a look at that. But without further ado, let's get and access some of the other FantasyFootballFix.com tools to have a bit of a deeper look at some of these players, the comparison between them and some teammates they could be considering, and all the latest in underlying stats. So I had a few options I could go through and look through today. I was going to go with Reece James and Chilwell, but to be honest, there's been so many threads on that by now. Most people are probably going to be a bit sick of it. It's obviously important to consider the most up-to-date news, but there's already been videos and comparisons on that by likes of FPL Raptor, who do some great in-depth analysis, so go ahead and check those videos out if you haven't already. You can see the transfer targets video today as well that came out earlier, so if I remember, I'll put a card on this video right now so you can go and check that one out if you want to. But a player that caught my eye on Monday Night Football was Ait Nouri of Wolverhampton Wanderers, and I really wanted to have a look at him now that he seems to be back in the team. Could he be earning his place and keeping it ahead of SALAH? I really think he could do it, and he does look fantastic when he plays, so it is almost a mystery why he's not. But yeah, he's only played 180 minutes so far this season, so it's difficult to compare him and Livramento, but we will have a look at the in-depth per 90 stats, which are down at the bottom, using the player heat maps tool over at FantasyFootballFix.com, which is one of my favourite fixtures features, if not my favourite feature. If we look at the heat maps, we can obviously see both very attacking. Ait Nouri's got less of a sample size, so we can't see as much, but they both find themselves very, very far up the pitch in lots of areas of the game. In terms of shots, we can have a look and see all the shot heat maps and stuff like that, which make it great to have a look at. Livramento obviously grabbing his goal here. He's hit the post. He's done all sorts of things so far this season to make him justified of the price tag. And we can also have a look at average position as well, as we can see. Both of them deploying themselves very high up the pitch in their systems respectively. And if we scroll down, these are the ones I'd like to look at. In terms of the total statistics, it's no surprise that Livramento is topping most of those due to his high minutes. But if we scroll down even further, we can see the average statistics per 90 minutes, which is something to consider when you're comparing players who obviously haven't played the same amount of time. And that's what I really like to look at here. And we can see that Ait Nouri comes out on top for a lot of them. Not goals and not expected goals, interestingly enough. But in terms of shots on target, shots in the box, total shots, and even goal assists, we can see that Ait Nouri is coming out on top for actual goal threat, not delivering the goals themselves, but goal threat, he is leading the way on Livramento. Goal assists, he's topping it, but Livramento is the one who's topping most of the majority of the underlying stats with a higher expected assists and a higher big chances created per 90. And so what would I do if I was looking to bring in one of these two this week? Say I was trying to find funds for someone like a Son in midfield by downgrading someone like a Diaz at defence. Who would I go for? Would I still bring in Livramento as he's become such a renowned, reliable option so far? Or would I take a bit of a risk and go with Ait Nouri? Well, to be honest, I wouldn't be opposed to having both of these guys in my team. I would really like it. They're very similar price now, with Livramento at 4.4, looking to rise to 4.5 tonight, as mentioned earlier on. And Ait Nouri down the way at 4.3. There was a lot of analysis and a lot of talk about him at the start of the season when he came out priced at 4.5. And obviously when he lost out his place to Marçal, that hasn't made him a great option when we're looking at him in terms of FPL, but he's back now, and could this be the time where the Frenchman is actually one to have a serious consideration about? I'm very tempted to take a bit of a punt on him. I really do like the look of how he's playing, and he was priced 5 million last season if I'm not mistaken, so down at 4.3, he's an absolute gem if he does start. Him and Livramento are definitely rivaling for the Lundstrom Wan-Bissaka award of this year, so let's see if Ait Nouri can play catch up on Livramento. I'm not sure he's going to be able to do it, but Ait Nouri is a fantastic option, and I do think he could be a great pick to bring in as well as Livramento. Either or, I think Livramento with a higher ownership is obviously the safer pick if you're looking to maintain overall rank, but my conclusion is that I would take a bit of a punt on Ait Nouri, especially with that Crystal Palace fixture. Both teams don't have brilliant fixtures up next. Livramento's and Southampton's are coming to a bit of an end, so perhaps I'd consider going all out and going with the Wolves left back. And lastly, I wanted to have a bit of a look at some of the transfer stats for this week. As a SALAH owner myself and someone looking to bring in Emile Smith-Rowe, with both of them potentially changing in price tonight, I'm going to myself hold off and wait on information and value that and take the 2.2 million potential price hit, which will probably happen at some point this week anyway, even if it doesn't so happen tonight. But Smith-Rowe is there, second of transfers in this game week, and why not? He's been performing consistently for a couple of weeks now and faces Watford at home next, who seem to be letting in goals quite a lot so far this season. In terms of players who are being removed for Smith-Rowe, we can see that SALAH tops the list with 21.4%, which is, as I said, the move that I will probably be doing myself. Benrahma's also there, Rafinha and Amari Gray too. So some very interesting picks, not many downgrades from big premiums like De Bruyne, but yeah, we can see that Benrahma, who picked up an assist, and Rafinha with a 9-pointer, people are still choosing to sacrifice these guys to bring in the Englishman for Arsenal, and I do think that it's probably a wise decision, but I wouldn't be in too much of a rush to remove the likes of Rafinha. They don't have brilliant fixtures. Benrahma obviously faces Liverpool, which will be, I'm sure, a big part in a lot of people's decisions, but he's not been delivering the big hauls like he has been at the start of the season, the Algerian, and that's a wise decision, I think, to probably move him on at this point. In terms of other players, we've seen that Reece James, of course, we've done less of the actual depths on stats, but we can see that Azpilicueta, again, tops that list. It's almost like this is tailored to me this week. Diaz, I also own, is being moved to Reece James a lot, and Marcus Alonso, who it makes up 11% of transfers. It seems like those ones should have been done a while ago. Maybe people are just logging in and catching up. But even Marçal is there after, again, missing out on Monday Night Football. Chilwell's also there, and I'm assuming some of the players will be very similar for him. We can see that a lot of people making the move there. There's no Rudiger in sight. People aren't choosing to move on the German. And to be honest, he's been delivering consistently as well. So I'm not sure why people would be removing him. I think Azpilicueta will be higher on the chopping block reasonably comfortably for a lot of people. Ramsdale's also there for highest transfers in this game week, and we can see that people making the move across from Raya makes up 51%. If I was moving on Raya, I would consider Ramsdale quite highly. It'd be between him and Sanchez for me. I do think that Ramsdale just looks a fantastic keeper, and there's not really any reason to bench him at the moment when he's looking in such good form. Even when Arsenal are under pressure and facing a lot of good quality efforts, he seems to be there, and he seems to be like a brick wall at the moment. David De Gea, 17-18 vibes. In terms of transfers out, we can see Alonso, Kovacic, Mount, a lot of players like this. Mount missed out through illness, so it'll be interesting to see whether he returns ahead of that Burnley fixture and whether a lot of people will root to regret that transfer out. But it's not looking too promising for him. We'll have to see and wait what Tuchel says later on in the week. But no surprises with the other transfers there. And last of all, we've got Gallagher over here, third for transfers in. Again, Sarr, Gray, Benrahma. These are the players that you would expect to have here. Hwang is an interesting one, and I do think that I'm not going to see Jimenez here in terms of transfers out, but we are seeing it. 7.2%. It's not the top. St. Maximin is there, and St. Maximin to Hwang, I think, is a very good move. Hwang looks incredible value. Should have really had a goal that got ruled out, rightly for offside. Antonio to Hwang, another popular move as Antonio faces Liverpool, same as Benrahma. And Vardy downgraded to Hwang is an interesting one. I wouldn't be doing that ahead of the Leeds game, but potentially afterwards to fund a Son move in whilst Conte takes over Spurs could be a good idea to go for. But that is going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, make sure to remember to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the Fantasy Football Fix YouTube channel if you haven't already. You can subscribe to the FPL Phillips channel as well if you want. Link is at the bottom of the description for that. And I will catch you later tomorrow. Enjoy the Champions League football. Hopefully no massive injuries come out of any of our players. But yeah, we'll have to keep our fingers crossed for that. So I'll catch you later. Have a good night, everyone, and goodbye.